Hey guys, my name's Gary.
And I'm Jenna, and this is Feeding the Embers. This is something God called us to do, and it's been several months, I guess, that He told us that we needed to share our story. And this is kind of the way and the platform that He wanted us to use to tell our story because we have quite a big story to tell. And we want to encourage other people by sharing our story that it might make a change in their life like it's done for us.
Yeah, so this is just something that um not real sure how to do it, not sure how it will go as it progresses. We're just basically going to try to follow exactly what we are told and what we're led to do. And this is what it's been, like you said, it's been several months that he kind of laid it on our heart both at the same time. And I've kind of ran from it. I know you've kind of ran from it a little bit just because it's intimidating. Not only because I don't know what I'm doing as far as a podcast or editing or anything like that, but I mean, Moses didn't know what he was doing when God told him to get his children out of Egypt. So I'm just going to trust that God will help me through the technical stuff and the nervousness, and just trust that it'll be what he wants, because I know it'll be what he wants if we just follow.
He called us to it, so why would he not bring us through it?
Yeah.
And we literally just went on Amazon and ordered this stuff, and we are kind of figuring it out.
Podcast starter pack
off Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But we've been married 16 years coming up in a few weeks, so we've seen some things. We've been through some things like all married couples have.
I mean, it's 16 years. Imagine.
Yeah.
That's just life.
I know. We've been together half of my life.
Yep.
'Cause
18 and some change.
Mm-hmm. So we've got some stories.
You were
I was 18.
pretty fresh out of high school.
Oh, I was a couple weeks after graduation.
Yeah. I wasn't too far out.
Yeah, you was a little further out than I was.
I didn't rob the cradle too bad.
You just got me young so you could train me. That's what it was.
I mean, that sounds weird.
But okay. It's okay.
That's
fine.
not what I did.
No, I know. Just kidding. But we kind of have a story. We went through some trials about a year ago and obviously overcome those trials. Came out way better than before. And we want to be able to share that with everybody because, I mean, God brought us through what was the worst thing that we've ever had to deal with. And there's victory, and we want to encourage other people, and especially married couples. That's really what we kind of have the idea to do, is not really be marriage counselors, but definitely encourage married couples to just don't give up. Don't give up. Even when it's hard, even when you feel like you're not getting anywhere, just don't give up.
Yeah. And I mean, she saw something on Facebook the other day. What was that? It said
The oil ministry is
the oil that anoints others comes from.
Yeah, I can't remember
because,
exactly.
I mean, how do you make oil?
What that said.
You take fruit and you crush it to get oil.
Yeah, ministry is others being blessed by the oil that came from what crushed you.
So in the Bible, obviously everybody knows that they anointed each other's heads with oil was a form of blessing. So I guess that's basically saying that, like, use what almost crushed you to make something that could bless somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
Take that oil and use that to bless somebody else. But I mean, this is not it's not going to be just all, you know, um, humdrum and negative.
No,
We're
no,
going to tell her,
there's lots of good
yeah,
stuff.
like
There's so much good.
we've not got 16 years of
No, there's more good than bad.
black cloud. So we're just going to try to go through and tell kind of how we met and how we came to be us.
Do you remember how we met?
It's not been that long ago.
It's been a few years.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
Originally, I saw you at a little store that I used to frequent pretty much every day because I was living by myself and I didn't cook. So I relied on gas station cheeseburgers every single day.
Ugh.
So it was no day any different than any other. And I hung out with the old dudes that stayed at that store and just was sitting there eating a cheeseburger. And you walked in with a Dixie Outfitter shirt and red cut off shorts or red. What was them shorts called?
Red Sophie shorts.
Sophie shorts.
That was the thing back in the.
So here you are in a Dixie Outfitter shirt and red Sophie shorts. And I about choked on my cheeseburger. So that was actually, come to find out, it was your papaw that I was sitting there with. No,
you weren't with
no,
Papaw.
No. That's right. I was with
you were
Leroy Johnson.
Were you with Leroy?
I was with Leroy
Which
Johnson.
was Papaw's best friend.
Which was your papa's best friend.
Yeah.
And I basically said, after you left, you bought a Mountain Dew of all things.
Well, I was working night shift that night.
Yeah. So bought a Mountain Dew, and after you left, I asked Leroy, I said, who was that? And he could tell, that I was asking for a purpose. I guess I wasn't hiding it too good. But he said, that's Pete Brooks's granddaughter. And I said, okay, well. And then I just kind of got to asking around and come to find out one of my buddies was your ex-boyfriend. And I kind of got a beeline on where you were and how to get a hold of you and that type of thing. So, that's not really how we met. That's how I saw you.
That's our first face-to-face meeting, because prior to that, I was working at Cooks by the Creek at the restaurant waiting tables, and you were roofing then, and you had this nice fancy red F-250 with a big John Deere cowbell. And I remember I would drive to work, you would come home, and we got to passing each other on the 4-lane every day at the same time. You were coming home, I was going in, and we just casually started waving because I thought, ooh, that's a nice looking truck.
Okay, so because this is a recorded, let the record state, I saw her and was attracted immediately because she was the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen in my life. She liked my truck.
Well, you had a nice truck.
So.
And it was loud. So I liked your truck.
Yeah.
And I started waving at you. And you ended up working on a house directly across from Cooks by the Creek where I was working. And I saw you. And I was like, oh, he's kind of hot. And he's got a nice truck.
It was very hot.
So that's not what I was referring to, but okay. And we just kept seeing each other. And then I saw you at the gas station. That's when we officially met face to face for the first time.
Well, I mean, I didn't know you were in that restaurant across the road when I was putting windows in.
I know,
so
but
technically,
I
guess you saw me before I saw you.
Yeah, I saw you. And then I started asking around to people trying to find out who you were. And Jared Harrell was actually the one that told me who you were. And
another old buddy of mine.
I think I got your number. I don't remember.
No.
I don't remember how that happened.
No, because that's when neither one of us had our numbers, because I groundhog hunted. And I really did.
Yeah,
I really did groundhog hunt. And I found out what road you lived on. And I used the excuse of groundhog hunting to basically park on the side of the road for hours and hours and hours waiting for you to come home. And you were coming down the road. It's a little old bitty 1-lane road. And you were coming down the road and basically ran me out of the road into the ditch.
He's in my way.
And I got my truck stuck.
I offered to pull you out of the ditch.
So that was technically our very first meeting.
Yeah.
And then after that is when I talked with my buddy about who you were and that kind of thing. And that's when I got the big plan to sneak in your driveway and put sticky notes of all things
Mm,
on your window
mhm.
with my phone number on it, and you caught me
I did.
because you were in the flower bed and cut off denim overalls, cut into shorts, and I think a Dixie Outfitter
Oh, I'm
shirt
sure because that's all I
and
wore
a pair of
then.
Crocs, pulling weeds in the
And
flower
I
bed.
still have those Crocs, by the way.
Well, the dog chewed them up, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
that's where it started.
our first date was a motorcycle ride.
Hmm.
You took me, and I'd never been on a motorcycle.
So
And mom and dad were like, "You can't go." And I'm like, "Bye. I'm going."
yeah,
The rest is history.
yep,
We dated for a year and a half, and then we got engaged on Christmas
yep,
at Rusty's house.
yep.
Which we had kind of talked about getting married, but not really. We just kind of knew. There was no
Oh yeah,
question. There was no like, well, I guess we've been dating long enough. We should probably get married. It was just kind of like, okay, we're getting married. We just knew. And I was in nursing school, LPN school.
yep.
That was the first time I was in school.
Hmm.
And Christmas, we went to Rusty Mallory's house and we were sitting on the couch and you pulled this box out of your pocket and you're like, well, I reckon we should get married.
That box that I had been carrying around for
Man.
months and months and months and months because I knew that I was going to propose. I just was, I guess, scared. I guess.
Maybe. Yeah. So I reckon we should get married. I was like, okay, but that's all right. And then we got married the following fall in September after I got done with nursing school.
Yep.
I graduated nursing school. 2 weeks later, we got married, went on our honeymoon, and I come back and took my state boards. Yeah.
Let no slack. No
No.
slack.
Well, we couldn't. I mean, we were poor. We didn't have anything. We had no money.
We had everything we needed.
Well, yeah, of course, but you know, we didn't have no big fancy huge wedding. We got married at our church.
Yep.
My wedding dress was a $99 David's Bridal.
And white foam flip
I had
flops.
white Avon flip flops.
Yep. Avon.
Avon flip flops. And you all wore blue jeans and Walmart polos or Walmart button up shirts. And the girls wore dresses that we had made.
Yep.
And it was silk flowers that I did myself. And we ordered napkins from Oriental Trading. And then Aunt Debbie and Melinda and Mom did all the reception stuff. And Auntie Athy made our cake.
But you know, when you think about, I guess, old timers, I guess you would say, that have been married for a million years, you know, very seldom do you hear people that have been married for a really long time and have a really successful, strong marriage say that they had it all ironed out. You know what I mean? Like they had
Yeah.
everything lined up, had a house and all this stuff, and had plenty of money in the bank. Nobody, you know, we didn't have a lot of the luxuries, but we started the foundation of our marriage off the right way
Well, yeah,
in church.
mhm.
And I mean, I really prayed hard about it all. And I know you did too.
Yeah, I mean, we really started our relationship right.
Yeah.
And, there was no kind of bad stuff before before we got married. We waited till we got married for those things.
Mhm.
And, we did lay the foundation right. And the foundation is what the house is built on.
Yep.
And jumping ahead, but when we went through trials, our foundation was solid. So the house didn't fall.
Yep.
Because the foundation was good, because we did start it right.
Because we put our roots in good ground.
We did have our roots in good ground. We absolutely did.
So we were active in church. And I mean, just like you said, I mean, we started off, we dated for a year and a half,
Yeah, but we knew way before then.
right? But I mean, like we didn't live together.
Mm-mm.
We kept ourselves until marriage,
Mhm.
and which is not popular. I mean, that's not you,
No.
most people move in together and get it all figured out, and you know,
No, we didn't do that. We
which I'm not condemning anybody.
No, no, it's just that
It's
that's what
it's
we
not
did.
that I'm, you know,
That's
I'm
what
not
we did.
right. I tried to pay attention to what God's word said and really just try to focus on how did he design marriage and how did he lay it out that he wanted it to work and be
Well,
built on, and that's what we tried to build it on. So, and we going along, I worked and she was a nurse, and we how long were we married before we decided to have Jackson?
we got married in 2009 and Jackson was born in 2012.
Yep. So 3 years, and we prayed that out too, like that was planned.
Mhm.
We decided that we were ready to have a child,
Mhm. And
and
then we had one. There
yeah,
there was no wait.
yep.
There was no
And I
wait.
think it's because God laid it on both of our hearts that it was time. So He already had that. He
Yeah.
already had that plan in the
Yeah.
lined up. So, but
And
we,
then I went back to school again when Jackson was a year old
yeah,
because I had taken some classes at Walter State to get my GPA back up because my GPA was terrible. Because when I was in college the first time, I didn't want to be there, failed a few classes, and had to retake those classes because my GPA was terrible and I couldn't get into nursing school. Nobody would accept me. So that's why I was in LPN school. And then Jackson was just shy of a year old because we had just moved on the hill
hmm,
up here. And I got accepted to nursing school. And I went back to nursing school 4 days a week with a 1 year old and drove to Knoxville, which was a good hour and a half drive 4 days a week going to nursing school and then was working on the weekends.
yep. And I roofed,
Mhm.
construction, framework, hung siding, and then I helped Bud Flainer. I hung guttering and blue insulation and pump septic tanks.
Septic tanks.
I mean, when there
Yeah.
again, foundation, we built it under our own 2 feet with our hands, and with the work that we put in, we built what we have. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we both worked jobs that we didn't want to work. I definitely didn't want to do what I were doing, but I had a family to provide for and a small child.
Yeah.
So,
And I was pulling some night shifts, not a whole lot, but I was having to pull some night shifts too, and that was hard.
yeah,
Plus nursing school, and which you saw how hard it was, and
yeah,
the only way you know how bad nursing school is if you've been to nursing school, and it's rough
it
and
is.
it's really hard. And I would come home and lock myself in the bedroom and study.
It's rough on you. It was rough on you. It was rough on us.
Yeah, it was rough on everybody. And then I got pregnant the last semester of nursing school with Isaiah.
Yep.
It was also planned. We
Yeah.
planned for him,
Yeah.
and we were living in a camper remodeling our house
Yeah.
the first time. No, that was the second time we
Yeah.
remodeled.
I mean, it sounds like we've had the screws put to us and had just a lot of pressure kind of from the beginning
Yeah, well,
between school and working rough jobs and
and it's just
nursing school and, you know,
that's just the road we've had laid before us.
yep. But that's all right because it's, like you said, it's put a firm foundation under us.
Yeah. So I graduated nursing school with my RN in December, and then Isaiah wasn't born until May. So I worked for a while. And then I suffered really bad from postpartum depression for a
Yep.
long time.
They had no idea that's what it was.
No idea. No clue that
Just
that's what was going on.
huge, huge change in kind of who you were. Like you changed. And it just was, we didn't realize that that's what you were dealing with.
Well, I mean, I don't even remember the majority
Yeah.
of Jackson's, infancy, and then Isaiah's. I don't remember a lot of it because Jackson, I was in school, and then Isaiah, I was, severely depressed.
Hmm.
Didn't know it,
Yep.
but and then worked at the hospital, and you got on with the city, and you had a steady job
Hmm.
that was just normal,
Yeah, it was always
normal
steady. I
with
did.
benefits,
Yeah.
so that helped.
Yep.
And I worked at the hospital, and then I went to teaching. It's been six years ago. Jackson was in first grade, second grade. Jackson was in second grade when I went to Morristown teaching, and Isaiah wasn't even in preschool yet.
And somewhere in there we moved again.
Well, we moved to your mom's yard in a camper.
Yeah, but I mean, we moved from the house that we brought Jackson home
Oh
from the
yeah.
hospital in, moved from that house to an absolute disaster of a house
Oh boy.
that probably should have, well, not
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, it was bad.
It was bad. And the plan was to basically dig a big hole and take a dozer and doze it and burn it and then bury it and then build a brand new house on the foundation. And that was the plan.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the living room one night and you were in the bedroom, and God came to me and told me, he said, don't tear this house down, fix it. And and I came in the bedroom and told you, and you were like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard,
Because it
because
was.
yeah, I mean,
It was a
it was very, very, very rough,
hmm
but I feel like that also laid the groundwork for
for what we have now.
what we ultimately ended up with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I don't know what I would have had in building a complete brand new house versus, but I mean, I gutted that house all the way, you know, past the studs,
Oh
and
yeah.
basically built a new house with an addition on the side of it. And we lived in that with the new house that we remodeled, I guess. We lived there for
Several years.
several years and just kept doing, I had no intention on moving
No,
at
we
all.
weren't gonna move.
We were
And
going
that
to
was
stay
our
right
home.
there. And
Yeah.
then Isaiah came along,
Mhm.
and it was a 2-story house.
Mhm.
And even though I built the addition on it with better stairs, it's still, the both boys were upstairs. Jackson's room was upstairs. Isaiah's room was upstairs. Laundry up and down the stairs a million times a day. We slept downstairs, and the boys were up there. And if they were sick or whatever, it wasn't working. So, COVID weekend is when everybody found out what
Yeah.
COVID was.
Yeah. But
We,
we bought this land before that though, remember? Because we were just gonna have
yeah, I
all
mean,
the acreage.
yeah, I skipped that part. So the place where we're at now, I knew the old man that owned it and was good friends with him. And I grew up in this valley, and I always loved this place. And I had begged that guy to sell me this land. And we basically agreed on me buying the
Yeah.
land. And he had a heart attack and went in the hospital, and his daughters, um, ended up, he said, I can't cut my family out
Right.
of, he said, I have to. And I said, I totally understand that. You need to give it to your family, give it to your daughters. And then lo and behold, several months, 6 or 7 months
It's probably even a
after,
year or more after he
maybe
died.
after Val passed away, one of his daughters reached out to me, and she said that before Dad died, he told me that you and him had
Mhm.
come to an agreement. And she said, if you still want that property, I'll honor,
Yeah.
which was big.
Yeah, it was
And I
big.
said, 100% I will take it.
Yeah, but we were like, where are we gonna get the money?
Right.
We
Because
were in no way, shape, or form
but
to
I mean,
buy
we
land.
just pulled it off. Like,
Well, it's because it was meant to be.
I
It
know,
was meant
I
to be.
made it happen. And so we had this land back here already I was just kind of like rudimentary cleaning it up a little bit with like a chainsaw. I didn't even really do any major changes to the land. It just was ours. And we would come back here and just dream of a house and we just figured it out how we wanted it and all that kind of thing. And then we closed on the 2-story the weekend that COVID hit the
Mhm.
news. Like when everybody found out what COVID was, we closed on that land.
Yep.
And there were some people that bought it, and we moved out into a camper in Mom's yard, and I started planning to build a house. And that was a process.
But we had kinda already started somewhat building even before we closed, didn't we?
Yeah, I guess so.
Because I'm thinking we had already, like, dug the
I
footers
think we
and
did have like a foundation and
dug
a
the
block.
basement, and they laid block.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah, because when I closed on that house up there, I went to nailing boards together
Yeah.
because that's what we were actually talking about at work today about like building material. We could see what was happening to the
Mhm.
building material, that it was just skyrocketing. And I bought like $30,000 worth of lumber in one day, and I had lumber sitting everywhere.
Yeah.
And we went to building this house.
Yep, you and Dad and me.
Yep. The three of us. Her dad helped me a lot. But I mean, it was during COVID.
Yeah, so you couldn't.
Everybody was locked down. I couldn't get anybody to help me. Everybody was scared to get around each other. But we built a house
We did,
living in a camper.
and we designed the house by ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah, me and both boys.
That was the
'Cause
second time we stayed in camper, because we stayed in camper when we done that one.
let's not do it a third time.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't that
Do not do that.
that was that
I
was
mean,
rough.
you were in school,
No, I was out of school.
you were
I was
teaching.
teaching,
That's
and
what
then
I'm
school
saying.
school shut
School
down.
shut down,
So me and the boys were
stuck in a
home,
camper.
stuck in a camper because everything was closed. You couldn't
Yep.
go anywhere. You had to bleach your groceries.
Yep. We literally sat out. So you remember that?
I know.
On a picnic table.
Yeah, and you spray your
with a
groceries
bleach
because
bottle.
COVID.
Yep. And we bleached our groceries,
Yeah, I
which is
remember.
insane
It
to
is.
think
It's the
about.
dumbest thing ever. But you don't know. I mean,
We didn't
you
know.
don't know. We didn't know.
You remember going camping, and we got in the shower house with a bleach bottle and literally like
Fumigate.
fogged the shower house with bleach.
Yeah, it was in
And it was
South
like
Carolina.
burning our eyeballs out trying to take a shower because we were just
Everything was closed though, and
close.
I mean they had you scared, and we didn't know any better.
Yep.
But then we'd come back to the house here and stay.
Yeah.
We'd bring an air mattress and stay for the weekend back here.
Yep.
So that was always fun. The boys loved it because we were camping, and we hung like quilts up to kind of block and separate to make rooms.
Yep.
That was nice. That was fun.
That's good times.
That was good times.
It was hard work. It was rough, but that was good times.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we're talking about, we're hitting the high points of the big things in our life. And
Yeah.
it sounds like we had a rough start, but we were absolutely like, we never had a crossword.
No.
Ever.
No.
Just
We still don't have crosswords.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't want this to sound like that this is like, listen to all the bad things we've been through.
Oh, no, it's
none
all
of
good.
it.
I mean,
Like,
none of that's bad. It's all good.
we were inseparable from the beginning. Never had a crossword, even through all the stress and changes and all the stuff. Just tight and just got along.
And even building the house, they say, oh, if you can build a house together, you can make it through anything. We didn't argue at all.
No.
We didn't even have disagreements over anything, did we?
Yep. That's
I don't
right.
think there was anything that we were like, no, I want it this way.
Yep.
I mean, it was just, I don't know, I guess it's because we're the same person. We're the same person.
Yep.
So we like the same stuff. And I mean, we just didn't have any trouble at all.
We lived in a camper in my mom's yard during COVID. We could not go anywhere and do anything. You had the kids all day in that camper at home because y'all were out of school. I worked a full-time job at the city with overtime on standby. And when I clocked out of work, I would come home and come back here and
work.
build on this house until who knows when.
Midnight at least, yeah.
Midnight. Crash, get up the next morning and do it all over again.
I know.
Every single day. And still, even with all that stress, not a crossword.
No, we did good.
It just works.
Yep. And then we moved in, and I still taught for years.
Yep.
Stayed in Morristown up until last year when I moved to Cherokee.
Yep.
And Isaiah went to school in Morristown and preschool all the way up through 2nd grade. We pulled him out after 2nd grade because he did 3rd grade. He started 3rd grade at Hawkins Elementary. And yeah,
I was born in Kingsport,
me too.
and I was raised for my earliest years in Kingsport
Mhm.
because my dad was killed when I was 2
Yeah.
in a motorcycle accident. And so, I mean, that, that started life off pretty hard.
Yeah.
And that was tough on mom, I'm sure. I mean, I can't imagine, you know, there she is with a 2-year-old infant just trying to get life going, just poor as dirt anyway.
Mhm.
And dad got killed just out of the blue. And so she remarried a piece of trash human being that was really, really, really hard on, like, extreme abuse on me and her both for years. And so I've seen struggles, and, I let that hardship in my early life dictate a big part of my later life, which is probably, well, it's not probably, that is my single biggest regret that I carry, is because all them years I let something that was just in the past, just was past. I let that affect the present and the future.
Yeah.
Like I carried that, the abuse and the trauma or whatever you want to call it. I let that kind of dictate who I was inside, like in here. And I regret every day of that because that's not how you can build something sustainable if you've got something big like that holding you back.
Yeah.
And so I carry some of the blame of being a type of person that was not happy inside because of things that I should have just let go. It just is, well, that's just what happened.
Yeah.
So we moved to Rogersville when I was young, and
How old were you when y'all moved? Like 13?
yeah,
Jackson's age?
12 or 13, I think. So
Yeah, 'cause you were doing hunter safety course when
yeah,
your mom met Charlie.
yep. So, yep, doing hunter safety course. And I don't, I mean, I don't want to get off on whether divorce is right or wrong, but, um, my mom divorced that bad individual that she was married to and finally got out of that very abusive relationship. And that freed me and her both up. And so she had enrolled me in hunter safety course, and I was taking that. And my stepdad that I have now, which is my mom's husband,
Mhm.
was the one that was working the skeet throwing machine the last day of hunter safety course. His boy, which is my oldest stepbrother, was also in the hunter safety course
Yeah.
and I was in there with him, and I hadn't even talked to Buddy in the class or whatever, but Charlie was working the skeet throwing machine, and he just took a liking to mom, I guess, kind of like
Well, I mean, she
me and
is kinda
you.
pretty, so
He
what do you
just
expect?
saw her and kind of pursued her, and I never will forget because I remember he tried to like speak to her when he was doing the skeet thing in the back of the truck, and she just blew him off. She didn't have anything to do with him. And then me and her, she had a blue Chevrolet truck, and me and her was walking after the last day course thing where you shoot the clay pigeons was over.
Mhm.
We were walking back to the truck, and here he came. He had a green Chevrolet truck that was exact same truck as hers, except for it was green. Here he come
Of
in that
course it
truck.
was.
Yeah. And he pulled up beside, we were walking down the pathway, and he pulled up beside her and was trying to get her number and stuff. And she gave it to him. And I was like, what are you doing? here's this random dude and you're giving him your number. But there again, I believe with everything in me
It was meant to
that
be.
God
Yeah.
was working all that, because through that we moved to Rogersville, which met, I mean, that,
Just
it
here
worked.
it was.
There it all works.
Everything, all things work together for the good of those
Absolutely.
that love him.
Yeah.
So, of course, that was what was supposed to happen.
So we moved to
I mean,
Rogersville, and I grew up. The biggest part of my childhood that I like to remember, I grew up here in this valley
yeah.
and had a phenomenal childhood after that. And I would go live on my aunt and uncle's farm in the summertime. When I'd be out of school, I'd go live on that farm and learn hard work.
Mhm.
We worked hard here in the valley too, putting up tobacco and all like that. But I learned a lot of good lessons after I got past the traumatic part of my
Yeah.
very young years. And I mean, that's what's crazy, is because there I was. I mean, I had the world, I had everything, but still I had all that anger and that pent up trauma that I just let that eat at me
Yeah.
inside. And I carried that forever. And you can't do that. Like if there's trauma and there's pain and bad in your past, I mean, you can't let that ruin your future.
No.
And it took a long time until
Last year.
the break. And
Last year.
I saw, you know, that had to go.
Yep. Yep.
And it did.
Well, it I mean, I don't know, you can't look back and change anything because that's just the way it is, and that's what the the hand that you were dealt, and the only thing that you can do is encourage other people and tell your story and tell our story and try to say, "Hey, been there, done that. Maybe think about doing this instead."
Yep.
And because you can't change your past at
We
all.
talk all the time that you will, if you're driving down the road and you're the one driving, if you look in your rearview mirror while you're driving, you will wreck.
Yeah, because
You
you've
will
got
wreck
to
because you
forward.
cannot look in your rearview mirror. You will end up in the ditch. You have to look through your windshield. Windshield is what matters. The rearview mirror does not matter.
Remember that time I ran in a ditch looking at a snake because I was backing up with my rearview mirror?
I mean, you were technically going backwards, so the rearview mirror was kind of your windshield.
Yeah, I
then
know,
because
but
you were backing up.
ditch.
Yeah. So
That was bad.
yeah,
So, yeah.
you can't look, no matter
Windshield.
what it is, no matter how, if it's yesterday is past.
Yeah.
You can learn lessons from your past, because we talked too about history that's not remembered is history that's destined to be repeated.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember my history because I remember things about it that I know not to do with my kids.
All right.
So it's
Same.
not gone and irrelevant. I just don't let the trauma of it weigh me down and rob the joy of my life, because we have everything.
We do. We have everything.
And
We have a perfect life.
you were born and raised here.
Yeah. Yep. I lived in the same house from the time I was born till the time I moved in with you. Same bedroom, same carpet.
Yep.
Nothing really changed. My life was just kind of normal, very normal. Nothing. I didn't have excitement like you did. It just kind of was. I had two brothers, and I was the only girl. I was the middle girl at that, and the only granddaughter on mom's side. And there was a whole slew of grandkids on dad's side. So I was kind of raised a princess. Cinderella princess, but
Yeah. Do you feel like you had a princess childhood?
well, yeah, Cinderella was a princess.
Okay.
I had two brothers.
True.
I was the only girl. And I learned to cook young and learned to clean young because I had to. Because I had to. Which, I mean, I always loved cooking. So I guess that's probably why I fell in love with cooking, is because I had to cook. Mom worked, dad worked, and I kind of helped fill that role quite a bit.
Yep. Yep.
But, well,
Which is why we are trying to do this,
yeah,
is because no matter what kind of past, I mean, you could have a picture perfect past, and if you don't live the kind of life that God has outlined for you, it won't
misery.
work. It
It
won't
won't
work.
work.
It really will not
Nope.
work. You have to not look at your past when you're trying to dictate your future, and you have to seek his will and keep him in the very, very center of your life,
Mm-hmm.
in your married life if you're married, in your children's life if you have children.
I mean, you have to. God has to be number one above everything and anything above you, above the kids.
Yep.
He has to be number one, and you have to do what he's guiding you to do, even when you are like, what? Kind of like this. I mean, he told us, this is what I need y'all to do. And, we're both kind of dumbfounded almost because this isn't something that we do.
Mm-mm.
I mean, but he called us to it. So I know he's going to take care of it. I know he's going to use it for his glory. But, Noah was crazy building the ark because it had never rained. And then the rain came and Noah was a genius. So that's okay. If God needs me to do something, needs us to do something, and people are like, they're crazy. That's okay. That's okay. Because people thought Jesus was crazy. And they hated him. So
Hickory Cove Church sign says, you're not called to be liked.
right.
You're called to be a light.
Yep. And that's what we're called to do. And how can you let your light shine if you don't ever get it out and hold it up? If you constantly keep your light kind of under the table so nobody looks at you, how can you do anything with your light?
This is not under the table.
This is not on the table. This is on top of the table on a pedestal, but that's okay because that's what he needs.
Well, and I don't want this to be like on a pedestal, like we're trying to build a podcast.
No, this is not about us.
This is
about him, 100%. This is not Gary and Jenna.
No.
This is God, 100%.
Absolutely.
This is God. We even talked about not even showing our faces, just talking.
Yep.
But it's necessary.
We were
to
going to
make
do
it
a audio only podcast, like Spotify style, but I feel like to make it more personable and people to be able to connect and relate
and
to us,
know that we're real.
But we're not on here to try to be like, look at us.
No.
And when we tell our story, we aren't trying to put ourselves on any kind of pedestal. Basically, I mean, honestly, what we're doing is trying to show this is how we started and this is where we got to, and the victory that came from all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a great, great, great victory.
Yeah.
So, well, that's episode 1. And we've got more. Next episode, we'll probably get into a little more of the meat and taters of the story because we've kind of set the groundwork for what's going to happen.
Yep.
So, anyway, thank you for listening in. If you've made it this far and didn't give up on our ramblings, because we're still trying to figure it out.
It feels like rambling, but
it's just okay. Episode 1, but there's so much. Next episode we'll get and a couple more episodes, and we'll just kind of see where God takes us and what all He wants us to share, and where it goes from there. But you want to tell them the story of why it's feeding the embers?
Yeah. That's skipping ahead a little bit.
Well, then you can wait. Make them wait on it.
No, because it needs to make sense.
Okay. So, well, we'll wrap up with that then.
Yeah, just a quick, and it will be it will all make more sense and be more detailed as it
Right.
unfolds. But feeding the embers came to me in the absolute worst time in my life because everything that I had put my faith in and what ruled my entire life, I could see that it was just dying
Yeah.
in front of me. And at the worst time in my life, I was praying. We talked about that the other day, that most of the time, the lowest point in your life, when you are what you would consider at your lowest, you're actually at your spiritual highest. Because just like me then, I prayed more and more earnestly and harder, and I read more scripture, and I cried out to God more during that time in my life. So that was actually one of my spiritually strongest points in my life because I mean, I was on a every 10-minute basis conversation with God, just
Yeah.
begging him, begging him, begging him, just seeking somehow that I could save this ember that was dying in front of me. And I tried everything. I tried everything that I could think of in here and just was trying to save the ember, because an ember is a tiny little, it's a spark that's left over from like a campfire. Like if you have a campfire and you've got a big old nice fire and it's keeping everybody around it warm and it's putting off light,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a big old nice warm fire, and you've got this big pile of wood over here. If you don't just continually put wood on that fire and feed that, it'll go out. And I felt like that's kind of the way that we were,
Yeah.
that I wasn't putting wood and you wasn't putting wood, and that we had just kind of like walked away from our fire
We
and
did.
was off in the weeds over here somewhere, just dilly dallying,
Letting the fire go out.
and then came back. And when we had and when you say let the fire go out, that sounds like, you know, let the romance die or whatever. But
No,
we
I mean,
literally, like, we were absolutely ending,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
it was dying.
Yeah.
And I knew that. I knew that. God told me that just as clear as day, clear as crystal. He told me that. And that absolutely petrified me. It scared me to death because now what? I've got to try to save this thing. And so that's what he told me to do. He said, just feed the ember. That little tiny, cause like that campfire, if you let that thing just die to where it's just ashes, you can come back if it's not too late. You can come back and you can dig around in them ashes and you can find, most of the time down under the ashes are little embers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a coal. It's a little tiny burning coal of what's left from that fire.
Right.
And God said, just feed that. Just feed the ember. Just feed the insect. He literally told me that in Walmart parking lot. Feed the ember. And the way that, like a natural campfire, the way that you do that is just little bits. Like you just put a little bit of fuel, a little shaving or a little tiny piece of wood on that, and then you breathe on it and you put air to it and you just gradually build that back. Because I feel like that what was kind of hurting is I was maybe putting too much wood or too much on at one time. So I just basically came to a point in my life where I had tried everything, and I never will forget. I laid in that bed one night and I said, God, I'm I'm at I'm at a loss because I'm trying to do what you told me to do, and I'm trying to feed this ember, and it's just dying. And I never will forget, I just gave it to him. I said,
Yeah.
I can't do nothing with it. I said, you're gonna have to. It's yours. And I gave it to him. And he just kept telling me, he said, just feed that ember, that little bitty ember, just feed it. And that's what I just kept doing. I never did I never did slack up,
Nope,
even
you
when
didn't.
you wanted me to. I know that, you know, feeding that ember sometimes was the last thing that you wanted me to do, but I followed what he told me to do, and I just kept at it.
I'm glad you did.
And that's what feeding that ember. And I mean, even now, like as big and as roaring of a fire as we have, you still have to feed
Well, yeah,
that.
you still have to feed the fire. It's
It,
gonna go back down to what it was.
I believe God is in the center of us now, and He is what gives that fire life.
Yeah,
Like that's where that fire's getting its fuel from now.
absolutely. But we have to do our part.
We have to do our part. Faith without works is
We
dead.
have to still do our part for it.
So that's where we were lacking, is He was not in the center of our life, and He was not the fuel for it. And it just died all the way down.
Yeah.
And we fed it back from an ember.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where this comes from.
Yep.
It'll make a lot more sense later on, but that's the skinny version of it.
Yep. All right. Well, next episode coming up. So be sure to listen in. Share with people. If you have somebody in your circle that you're like, hey, you know what? I really think they could benefit from listening. Send it to them. We're not trying to get big and famous and be the next Joe Rogan, but we want to spread God. We want to spread God, and we want to tell how amazing He is and how much He can change you and change your life and change your family. So that's what we want to do. So if there's somebody in your circle that needs God, send this their way. But thanks for listening. If you made it all the way to the end, and
Give
we'll
us feedback.
yeah.
Tell us if you audio, or give us
Yeah, if
feedback
there's something we
what
need to
we can do
change.
better. This is our sunroom that we've built.
Yeah,
So
we're figuring it out a little
we'll
at a
figure
time.
it out. Yep.
So thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next episode.